Hello everybody and welcome to Superhero Video this week. I know I'm a little late, I'm between work and actually having to legitimately take notes for this video. I got it out a little late, but I still got it out before the end of the week, so I at least got that down. And in this Superhero Video, you kind of saw the title, but I know it could be, I still haven't completely figured out what the title is. So whatever the title is, you saw the title. Basically, this is an idea that's been done before, but I'm certain it's been done before, but it just came to me random, like, this would be a fun thing to do. What if, like, the actors themselves, the actors who play, like, the flagship characters in, like, say, the Marvel Universe and the DC Universe, switched and played for the RTs, or just switched universes? They're no longer in the Marvel or DC Universe. So then, what universe would they be in, and what characters could they portray? That idea, I think, is just fun to speculate and have fun, and it'd be cool. Yeah. It's cool to have fun speculation debates with. So with this, I stuck with the Marvel side of it. I stuck with because there's a lot in terms of not just the Marvel Cinematic, but yeah, the X-Men universe, stuff like that. I kind of stuck mostly with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I stuck with mostly the core Avengers. I added a few, like Idris Elba and Anthony Hopkins are in there. But, yeah, and then when the DC Universe, it's a little opposite, that there's more, the DC Cinematic Universe is not huge yet, so not only do we have the BVS cast, not only do I have, like, the BVS, Man of Steel, Suicide Squad cast members, some of them, but we also have, like, Christian Bale and a couple other members from outside that. Also, I'm not going to pick, I didn't pick actors, like, I didn't pick Ben Affleck, because Ben Affleck is playing Batman currently, and he also played Daredevil, so I'm not counting things like that. People who actually have played. Chris Evans is a different story, but that's because he never switched teams, though. That's the thing for Chris Evans. So he's always been in the Marvel Universe. So without further ado, let's start with the Marvel side of it. So, and why don't we start with the guy who basically launched it, Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. Now, Robert Downey Jr.'s, the way I had to picture some of these, I had to picture their talent as an actor, physical appearance entirely. Some of them they play CG. Some of them I chose to play CGI characters who you just use CGI for, but and physicality too. Physicality, appearance, and acting ability. So with Robert Downey Jr., he plays Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr. himself is a personality. He's lively. He's energetic. He's smart. He's witty. So who do I think could play characters he could play like that? And when thinking about that, I tried to limit it to like 3, and I do have 4 in one example here, but we'll get to that when we get to that. And first up, I thought, and when thinking about, also age is not necessarily a factor. You can go back. I went back to like when they were younger and stuff like that. So, for instance, Robert Downey Jr., I think he's like 52 now or something. He's in his 50s, Robert Downey Jr. So when he launched it, he was in his 30s when he launched Iron Man. I could have seen him in the early 2000s, or late 2000s anyway, when Iron Man came out, playing a Hal Jordan. I could have seen him playing a Green Lantern. When you think about it, Green Lantern is often considered very witty, very sarcastic, especially in the New 52 version, which does annoy some people. I didn't find it quite as annoying, but yeah, I can understand that. But even not in that, he's usually a little cocky, but he's usually very jovial, lively, and that's kind of what Robert Downey Jr. is. He's a great actor. I think he could pull that off. He would have to be in at least some decent shape, and Robert Downey Jr. has always been in decent shape, but he definitely had to be in okay shape, and I think Robert Downey Jr. could pull that off. He doesn't have to be in like Ryan Reynolds shape, like Ryan Reynolds was, but yeah, and that CGI outfit. Oh God, you could. And yeah, the Iron Man outfit's CGI when he's doing the action sequences, but so would he be in Green Lantern as well. So really, you could have made a non-CGI suit. It could have worked. And then the other one I picked was Constantine. I could see him playing a John Constantine, because Constantine is British. He can play British with it's obviously a kind of stereotype British, but still, you can play. He's played kind of Brits before. You can spike up the blonde hair a bit if you want to have him look like he does in the comic. You've seen him like chain smoking before. And he's got that wit, but he's got that ass-like quality to him sometimes, but in a likable way. He's an ass that we like. He can play a con artist. I think just Constantine could work for him if you kind of tone back the eccentricness of his Sherlock Holmes character and gave him a bit more of a Cockney Brit accent. Then, of course, made spike up his hair, make him blonde. I could have seen him playing Constantine, at least in the younger days. So that's that. Then we go to ScarJo, or Scarlett Johansson. Scarlett Johansson's was actually kind of difficult to pin down. Now, some people might say, and I didn't put, like, by the way, some of the obvious, like Jamie Alexander as Wonder Woman. Yeah, I would have picked her as Wonder Woman too. But anyway, I didn't pick her as Wonder Woman or like Hawk Girl or anything like that, because when you actually look at Scarlett Johansson, she's a gorgeous woman. God damn, she's a beautiful woman. But that's the thing, is she is a beautiful woman. Believe it or not, her beauty actually is a problem when casting her as a DC character. Now, obviously, liberties taken, and there are some liberties I took, like with race differences and stuff like that. But when I say her beauty, I say it's because she's a very fair-skinned looking woman. Wonder Woman is a gorgeous woman as well, but and yeah, you can make Gal Gadot as a fair-skinned woman as well. But she has to usually have like a war edge to her. Scarlett Johansson's her lips are too pouty. She's too and I know I'm kind of sound like I'm being judgmental of her looks. I'm not. I think she's gorgeous and she's a beautiful actress and a good actress, a very good actress. But she's got very much a model Victoria's Secret look to her, which works for Black Widow because Black Widow's got a seductress quality to her. Wonder Woman does not, so I didn't pick her for Wonder Woman. What I did pick her for, though, Zatanna, I kind of could see her. Dye her hair black, straighten it up, shorten it. I could see her kind of being a Zatanna. You can see her kind of just smiling, casting spells. But the one that's a bit more obvious is Poison Ivy. I could definitely see her being the Poison Ivy because that's kind of what Poison Ivy. She is the seductress. She very much is. She's the manipulator, and the red hair. We know Scarlett Johansson can pull that red hair off beautifully. I don't know if she's a natural redhead or not. Do you know if Scarlett Johansson's a natural redhead? I know it sounds like I'm being chauvinistic or misogynistic when I say that. I'm not trying to be. It's just whether she's talented. I'm not saying she doesn't have the acting chops to be Wonder Woman. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that she doesn't fit the warrior motif. She fits more the spy seductress motif. And don't get me wrong, she's a fighter. Don't get me wrong. Lucy, which is kind of is not a great movie, but she's still okay in it. For the character she has to portray. Lucy, Scarlett Johansson, Scarlet Witch, Black Widow is what I meant. So it's not like she's not a fighter. It's just she's not a warrior-esque type of actor. So, but that's my thoughts. I think that, particularly the Poison Ivy one. I could definitely see the Poison Ivy one. Then Chris Evans, Captain America himself. That was a very actually tricky one to think of because. Yeah, his actual acting style and his actual appearance was actually, now in shape, that's not a big concern at all. You could see him being in shape for whatever role he needs to be. That for him, I actually could see him being a Clark Kent. If you actually see the way Clark Kent, if you actually compare him to Henry Cavill and stuff like that, you can see because he wears a wig when he's playing Captain America a lot of the time. You could see him either dyeing or his hair or wearing a wig for for Superman, Clark Kent, having that hair. And then I could see him being in the suit. I think it's in the realm of possibility he could play Superman. The other one I had him as is Nightwing. Nightwing is another one where I feel that because he would be older, Nightwing would be older. I do think I could see Chris Evans as, especially standing against Ben Affleck. I could definitely see that. You could see him in the suit. I think I could, especially when especially if you just alter the Civil War or the Civil War or the Winter Soldier suit to look like a Nightwing suit. I could see that completely. So that's Chris Evans. Chris Hemsworth. Now, Chris Hemsworth is an interesting one because he doesn't get rid of his accent very much in movies. That being said, I've seen all his movies, so maybe he can. But that being said, even in movies where he kind of tries to get his accent, like I think he tried to get rid of it a little bit in Heart of the Sea, but not certain. Like in Ghostbusters, he didn't get rid of it. As far as I can tell, in Vacation, he didn't get rid of it. He altered it. He altered it to sound a bit more southern. So with that, I had to kind of think of characters where hiding an accent is not a big concern. And also characters that would fit maybe his physical motif and his acting. He's a great actor, too. So I actually could see him as Aquaman. I could especially the a bit slightly less a kind of a Jason Momoa Aquaman as far as we're getting, like the Prince of the Sea, kind of rough and tough guy, but something a bit more akin to like the Justice League one with the blonde hair, the beard, the hook for a hand. I could see something along those lines. I also could see Orion, who, if you don't know Orion is actually one of the sons of Darkseid, but he lives with the New Gods, the relatively nice people compared to Darkseid's people. I could definitely see that he wears a helmet. He's kind of actually looks a bit like a. He constantly wears a helmet. He kind of looks a bit like a Judge Dredd-esque character, but you can see his eyes kind of. He wears a red-blue suit. He has a flying machine. He's a cool character. I could see him as Orion, but the other one I could definitely see, and I actually had to put this one 3 different times for 3 different actors. So, by the way, I do repeat some of these as well. Etrigan the Demon. I could totally see him as Jason Blood. And then just saying, gone, the former man, release the demon Etrigan! And then just him turning into demon Etrigan. I could totally see that. That would be sweet. Can you imagine that? By the way, I'm going to say this right now. I have 2 other casting for the demon Etrigan. So when I'm done, I'll figure out which one I might be like the best. But I could definitely see Chris Hemsworth as the demon Etrigan, Jason Blood. That'd be really cool. Mark Ruffalo, the Hulk. Mark Ruffalo is a hard one to pick because I don't see him personally doing action sequences that much because he's just not that actor. Granted, he does do it a little bit like in the Now You See Me franchise. He kind of does him. And he does him as the Hulk, but that's CGI. So I picked him more as an intellectual character sometimes. Now, I could see him kind of as a Riddler character. I could see him kind of play the Riddler. That'd be interesting. As an older Riddler, just like Batman's an older Batman, you could see that you could definitely see him being a wise ass towards the Batman. Definitely that Mark Ruffalo kind of spunk. And then the other one, I pictured him as Deadman a little bit. I kind of did. Honestly, I didn't pick Swamp Thing on here at all. Otherwise, I'd have a Justice League Dark cast just from the Marvel Universe. I kind of pictured him as Deadman too, because Deadman's kind of the comic relief character. He's kind of the wisecracker of all the groups, along with Constantine a little bit, but Constantine's kind of more ass of the group. And I can kind of picture that if you've seen things like, if you've seen the Now You See Me franchise, if you've seen Infinitely Bipolar, if you've seen like Spotlight, if you've seen these where he's witty, he can be witty, serious, but also funny at the same time. I think he can really bring something cool to Deadman. Jeremy Renner. I honestly couldn't think of anything for Jeremy Renner. I feel bad about that, but I really couldn't think of anything. Jeremy Renner's a great actor. He is, but he's really kind of a niche guy. I mean, he plays Hawkeye fine, but I can't see him playing Green Arrow, the counterpart, because Green Arrow is just a different guy. I couldn't really... If you can think of someone for Jeremy Renner, please let me know. Moving on, though. Idris Elba. Again, I kind of pictured him as Etrigan a little bit. But this time I picked that accent, man. All these guys have accents, by the way, and I think that plays the fact Jason Blood is from a different time period, so I do believe he actually would have an accent. So why not have a black Jason Blood? That'd be cool. And then you can just hear that deep Idris Elba voice just say, Gone, the former man, release the demon Etrigan! And you could just hear his voice through Etrigan, man. That would be sweet. I could also see him being being Metallo, honestly. I could see him as Metallo. That would actually be really cool. Just him screaming, just the male, half Idris Elba face, just beating Superman to I could totally see that, and that would totally be cool. And then the last one, actually, this is another one I cheated on. I could see Spawn. Spawn would at least, in essence, because Spawn is a black character, actually, believe it or not. For those of you who aren't privy to the comics, he is actually a black character. But I could see Spawn, but thinking on it now, he's not... Spawn's actually very street, believe it or not. He's very streetwise. He's very dark, gritty. And whilst Idris Elba can definitely go into that dark place, I don't see him being a very street character or actor in that regard. But then again, I haven't watched Luther. I hear he's very good on Luther. The other one, though, and because this would be an entirely CGI character, Jason Blood is a combination CGI and live action, but Darkseid. I could see him being the voice of Darkseid. completely. Can you imagine Darkseid? And they would think with like things like Thanos, and I did cast a few of my DC characters as Thanos. Think about Thanos and Darkseid. They would both be CGI characters completely. So it's, I mean, there'd be mocap probably, absolutely, but it's not about necessarily the physical performance, them being physically needing to meet Darkseid or Thanos' equivalents, but them just their voice and their acting ability. So I definitely could see Darkseid, his voice, especially you could definitely hear that grumble, especially when you get Shere Khan. Think Shere Khan's voice, because obviously he's Idris Elba is modulating his voice. There's a little editing and modulation for the voice, but generally speaking, it's them, that just gruff exterior, that viciousness in his voice, and especially when he's being calm, cool, and collect. Now, Kal-El, you will know. Just I can't do a good Idris Elba sometimes, but sometimes like when he's like kind of, I can do a kind of decent screaming Idris Elba. But yeah. Anthony Hopkins, really the only one I can think of for Anthony Hopkins, because he plays Odin. I saw him as the All-Father, basically. More or less the Odin equivalent in the New Gods. I believe his name is the All-Father. So that's where I can see him, and yeah. Elizabeth Olsen, again, I could see her as Zatanna. I could definitely see her actually as Zatanna, even more so than Scarlett Johansson, just because of how she portrays Scarlet Witch. But I also, because of Scarlet Witch, and because of just how she looks, and again, beautiful, talented actress, I could see if they somehow brought like the Royal Flush Gang in there. If you remember Justice League, Ace, I could see her playing Ace. I like a more adult version of Ace, mind you, but Ace nonetheless. I could see Ace. Let me know if you could see Ace, because I could totally see it. I just actually rewatched the episode where the Joker was using her to basically drive the world mad, and then Batman just shows him up. Which, by the way, how badass is Batman that even though he is being affected by her, unlike the rest of them, he's not just like, no, he's just like, no, I'm gonna, look, the Joker's still, look, okay. Oh, Batman beats the Justice League just in that right. It's like, yeah, even Superman's kind of like, oh crap. Actually, Superman might be able to resist to a degree, but that's the move. That's the Justice League Superman's actually one of the weakest Supermen we have. And then she just completely mind rapes the Joker. But no, yeah, I could completely see her playing like an older version of Ace. I could totally see that. Tom Hiddleston. This one was interesting. Now, first off, I could see him playing a Riddler. Definitely a Riddler, absolutely. He's got that wit, he's got that charm, he's got that menace and arrogance. I could see him playing a John Constantine as well. He's British. You could see him getting the blonde, spiky hair. He's not a bad-looking guy. John Constantine has always been described as not a bad-looking guy either. I could see him chain-smoking in a trench coat, so I could definitely see him. But the one that I really kind of got the idea for, Mr. Mxyzptlk Spitz, or Mixel, no, it should be Mix, you know what? I am actually going to look up that name so I know how to pronounce it. And I've actually seen the Mr. Bjorger, okay, so Mr. Mix, no. Yeah, and I just realized, how the hell am I going to, how the hell am I going to Google search this? Superman villain. Villain. Okay. Mr. Mix. Okay. Tell me give me a pronunciation here. Okay. So Mr. Mix. Yeah. Okay. So sometimes called Mixie, a fictional. Okay. Okay. Oh, here we go. Okay. Come on. Give me the pronunciation here. Mxyzptlk. Kilpitsy. His name backwards is pronounced Kilpitzism. Kilpitzism. Okay, so that means Miz. This is hindsight right here. I really should have figured out the spelling of it before anything else. So, do we got the spelling? Okay, pronunciation. Okay, Mr. Mixelpix. Pronunciation. Oh, there's even a Google search for that too. Okay, it is not that. Okay, yeah, comment fine. How do you pronounce Mr. whatever his name's name? And I know this is taking up a lot of the video, but I feel kind of stupid for this. Okay, Mixie-Split-Lick. Okay, Gilbert Gottfried. So anyway, yes, I could see him. Now, yeah, in the Superman cartoon, he's played by Gilbert Gottfried, who's a very outrageous voice actor. His voice is very outrageous, but at the same time, I could see him playing that outrageous, just ass of a character who just wants to beat Superman just to prove he can. Like, I'm the superior being and all that. Oh, I'm the superior being, and just that charming British accent with just being a dick attached to it. So, yeah, I can see that. Then we got Paul Bettany as the last Marvel guy. Yeah, I copied Etrigan because I could actually of all of them I could kind of see him being Etrigan because he fits that time period the best, being British and all that, everything along those lines. So I could definitely see, and also looks-wise, I think he actually fits a Jason Blood character the closest. So yeah, I could see Gon, the former man, release the demon and all that. So I could see him that. But the other one, because he plays Vision, I think he could actually play Brainiac I think he'd be a really cool Brainiac. Because, again, that'd be a very CGI... I mean, there'd be makeup involved in that. But there'd also be a lot of CGI. There's multiple bodies, all that. So I think I could definitely see him playing a Brainiac, especially because he sounds very intellectual when he talks. So... Or when he speaks, Paul Bettany. So I could definitely see that translating over to a Brainiac. Absolutely. So I kind of I'm going to have to be a little bit quicker on my DC one. But Christian Bale, not the original Batman, but the Batman we've had previously. I could picture him as Adam Warlock a little bit. He's actually kind of a hard one to pick because it's his acting style and personality that's kind of weird. Adam Warlock, though, I could kind of see. I think I also had him as Infinity. I could picture him as a cosmic level being. Like beyond, like Eternity, like the Living Tribunal kind of guys, things along those lines. But other than that, I can't see him playing most like mortal characters or most standard villains. It just doesn't go well with me or play off well. Michael Caine, because he played his Alfred. Michael Caine is someone who never gets rid of his accent. He has never once, as far as I can tell, gotten rid of his accent. So when you're thinking of characters like that, you're basically turning them into Brits. But there is one guy I figured out I could try to play, and that is Dr. Trevor Brunholm. Basically, I thought he was Bloom originally, but it's not. Hellboy's father, the doctor who adopted Hellboy in the Hellboy series. I actually could see him playing a version of that. I think that could work. John Hurt did it. He's British. That works. And you don't have to be British or anything like that. It helps. It helps. But yeah, I kind of saw that. Liam Neeson, because he played Ra's al Ghul. Or Ra's al Ghul, as you go. Or Ra's al Ghul. No, it's Ra's. I saw him as... I could see him as a version of Banner. I believe it or not, yeah, I could see that a little bit. He doesn't have to be physical. I mean, yeah, you could see him doing the whole Hulk of physicality mocap, but then I could see him being in the intellectual. Definitely, he'd be a bit more. He's definitely a bit more multi. He's a bit more intense when he talks. And because of that, because when I brought up mocapping and not actually having to be in makeup, I could see Thanos. Because again, they would probably, because even when you listen to Josh Brolin as Thanos in like Guardians of the Galaxy. Or that snippet at the end of Avengers Age of Ultron. Excuse me. His voice it's not 100% his voice. There is some like sound editing that goes into that voice. So if you could do that with Liam Neeson, I could totally see Liam Neeson or hear Liam Neeson's voice coming out of Thanos and just say, I don't know, I will bathe the starways with you. Wait a minute. I'll bathe the starways with your blood, and just have it. Just amplify his voice a bit more because he does have definitely a hush growl to him. And I can picture him because he's played Zeus. I can picture him playing Odin. Absolutely, I think Odin would fit him very well. I think. Then Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway was a very weird one. She's similar to Scarlett Johansson. That she kind of has a kind of Girl Next Door vibe to her a little bit. That kind of American Miss America, America's sweetheart. That's the term I was looking for. She has an American sweetheart vibe to her. So that, I mean, so I could picture her kind of as Mara Hill a little bit. I could also picture her as Jane Foster. I could see her maybe trying to pull that off a little bit. But I also wanted to maybe try to give her a non supporting role like that. Don't get me wrong, Mara Hill's a pretty badass character, but Jane Foster's a love interest. Let's be clear. I won't deny that she is a love interest. Nebutal, though, is one that if you've actually seen her, like, you know, when you actually see her screaming, getting ragey, getting pissy, getting bitchy, however you want to see her in movies, I can kind of see her as Nebutal a little bit from Guardians of the Galaxy, Gamora's sister. I can kind of see that a little bit. I mean, that's just my personal viewpoint. But again, yeah. Before I finish, yeah, give me your ideas for castings, absolutely. And if you think I'm right or wrong, you like them, don't like them, please let me know, absolutely. Moving on, we got Tom Hardy. Immediately Tom Hardy. I went to Drax. I could totally see him as Drax. He's got the build for it. That's one where you do need to be in shape for Drax. That's not a CGI character. Batista's in shape, obviously. But he's also Batista's not a bad actor. I mean, he's a limited actor. Even he'll say he's a limited actor. He's very humble about it. He's grateful for any role he gets. But he's not. James Gunn used him very well. But Tom Hardy is a better actor, so you could utilize his talents even more. Thor, I could also see, again, he's in shape, or he can get in shape anyway. Especially if you look at him as Bane, or in the the Warrior, or Warrior. He can get the beard going, he can get the long hair, so I could definitely see him as Thor. And yeah, I had to go with an obvious one. I could also see him as Wolverine too. Granted, he's it's weird after we've had Hugh Jackman for so long. That's the one thing. It's very weird. So just picturing anyone as Wolverine is just a weird thing to go by. But moving on, Kevin Costner, because he played Kent, not Clark Kent. Pa Kent. Anyway, his dad. I can't remember his dad's name. Anyway, but that's the weird thing about Kevin Costner is Kevin Costner is a good actor. I think he's very bland in a lot of his roles, but he is a good actor. I've seen him do good. I actually like 3 Days to Kill. 3 Days to Kill was actually really good, I thought, but apparently didn't do that well. But then, of course, Dances with Wolves. But when I look at him, I see kind of almost like calm businessman kind of evil to him, or like a calm head commander kind of character. So I could see him being like the head of a Nova Corps. Anytime I envision it in my head, I'm just envisioning him just with his arms behind his back, just staring outward somewhere, and then just does a turnaround, just does that. Yes, kind of movies. That's the kind of cool, suave acting I can see Kevin Costner doing. And I kind of see that like with the head of a Nova Corps, or I could see him being like Adrian Toomes, the Vulture. I could see him kind of like the Vulture a little bit. I could see that. That would be interesting. That's an interesting concept in my mind. Especially maybe having. Now, that being said, when he's maybe like screaming or trying to emote, that's a little odd. And that's one thing I'm wondering for Spider-Man Homecoming, assuming we are getting the Vulture, which, and by all accounts, it seems like. And we're also going to be getting the Tinker and the Shocker, so he's got a couple villains in there. Is he going to have the life absorption ability that the Vulture did in some of the other interpretations? I'm wondering about that. But moving on, because I didn't intend for this video to go this long, but searching for Mr. Mixel-Split's voice, a name, took some time. Then we have Henry Cavill. Immediately, I went to Sentry because he plays Superman. Give him a blonde wig. I could see Sentry. Sentry would be awesome, and I'm assuming that we are eventually going to see Sentry because Sentry is I think he's a much more interesting character than Superman because Superman is this. I mean, Superman is the. I completely understand where Mark was coming from. We had a conversation about Superman. We need that. Truth, Justice, American Way, stands for what's good kind of guy, and refuses to kill person. And Captain America kind of is that in what we have right now. Mark, I think, was arguing that against me and whatever, but whatever. But and I'm for that. I kind of agree that when this, and we are actually in a place in our time right now, in our day, in our lives, in history. I think we do need the return of that Superman, maybe a little bit. Granted, still have him kick ass, still have him be fast, and still keep him maybe in the darker tone of the somewhat more edgier tone of the cinematic universe for DC. But yeah, I think we do maybe need that truth justice Superman a little bit. But no, also I could see him as I could have seen him as Captain America, or I can see him as Captain America. Absolutely. Again, give him a wig or dye his hair. But also I could see him as Cyclops. I actually thought about it. I'm like, I could see him as Cyclops. I could. And yeah, obviously my casting goes outside the other universes, because whatever. But yeah, I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, I could see him with the visor. I could see him kind of being the... I mean, you can't do worse than James Marsden. James Marsden's a fine actor, but they kind of wrote Cyclops very stiff and uninteresting. They actually made him more interesting in X-Men Apocalypse, where he was the young one. That's because I think he was a young kid just discovering his powers. Then we have Gal Gadot. Now, let's call it what it is. Gal Gadot's not a very strong actress right now. She's been getting more roles, though, and I assume she's still taking lessons. She's still taking acting courses, improving herself. Actually, we got the Getting with the Joneses, I think, where she and John Hamm are playing spies. She didn't look terrible in the trailer. I mean, she's gorgeous looking. God damn, she's gorgeous looking. But especially, she just walks out lingerie. So I'm like, you were in the army. You're a model. You're a Wonder Woman. God. But yeah, I had to think between her acting abilities, her actual physical appearance, and what I know she's physically capable of. So I'm like, I could maybe see her as Gamora. I could also see her as an older Mystique, because Mystique didn't need to do a lot of dialogue in the original movies. She had like one line of dialogue in the first movie. Most of it was just physical acting. She could... and that was Rebecca Romijn. And Rebecca Romijn is also a model who was not a severely super actress or anything like that. And she did fine in those movies. So given enough time, I think Gal Gadot could play Mystique. But Spider-Woman came to mind. And I'm like, okay, let's assume for a minute that she takes some, she improves as an actress enough that we could actually consider her. Let's say she goes the Dwayne, The Rock Johnson, Dave Bautista route. And yeah, let's say she could at least reach a Dave Bautista level, and I think that's very possible. I don't think she was terrible in Batman v Superman. She definitely had some moments where she did some decent acting. That scene between her and Bruce Wayne at the party was actually really good. Between her and Bruce, their acting was actually really well. Chemistry was actually really good. But then, like, physically, she's in shape. Appearance-wise, she actually resembles Spider-Woman. Yeah, you might need to change her ethnicity a little bit, but who cares? I don't. As long as it's not core to their character, I don't care if you change ethnicity at all. Like like Captain America. Captain America still does not need to be white. We have Falcon, who's a black Captain America. We've had Bucky. Steve Rogers, however, kind of needs to be white because he's the son of Irish immigrants and things like that. So he kind of does need to be white in that regard. But Captain America doesn't need to be white because it's the mantle, not the character. But same with Spider-Woman. Spider-Woman, as far as I know, doesn't need to be white at all. She could be black. She could be Asian. Hell, one of the versions of the Hulk we've had so far has been Asian. So I could see Gal Gadot, given the fact that she improves as an actress down the line, being cast as Spider-Woman. I can completely see that. And you know what, by the way, I have a feeling we're going to see Spider-Woman in the cinematic universe now that we got Spider-Man back in the MCU. Moving on, though, I've still got 3 other actors to go by. Will Smith. This is another one where I cheated for characters. Now, Bishop, I think Bishop needs another crack at, and I think he could maybe do a decent Bishop. But Falcon's one, I could definitely see him pulling off. I could have seen him pulling off the suave, his Will Smithyisms, I guess you could say, as Falcon, while still being that really cool character. I could have totally seen that. Rhodes, I also could have seen Rhodes. But one where I changed the race, I could actually kind of see him being Hawkeye. I could see them bringing an edgy Will Smith kind of like what he did in Suicide Squad, but lighten him up just a little bit. version of Will Smith for Hawkeye. I could actually really see that. That could play well in my mind. Like in the original Avengers where it's just like I have business with Loki. It's like we'll get in line. And when you see him just tightening up under a bow, getting ready, it's just like I can completely see that. Yeah, I can really see that. Actually, I would really dug a Will Smith Hawkeye. I love Jeremy Renner as him, but I could have definitely dug on that. Then we have the last two, Margot Robbie. Harley Quinn. I could have seen her playing. I could see her playing Miss Marvel. I could have seen that casting. I had no problem with Brie Larson at all. By the way, I think that's great casting. I could have seen a Black Cat. That could have been a really cool casting choice, or could be. Future, who knows? Pepper Potts also. Could you imagine Margot Robbie and Robert Downey Jr. interacting off each other? I could have seen a Pepper Potts with that. That really cool. Just dye your hair. That's all. Just dye your hair. Last one, Jesse Eisenberg. Yeah, he's Luthor. Deal with it. Maybe we might get a senior Luthor. Who knows? That was a really hard one because he gives off a very particular vibe, Jesse Eisenberg. He gives off a very squirrely, very very annoying, egocentric Mark Zuckerberg type. And when I thought about it, I'm like, I could see two characters, but they're both in the X-Men universe. One is Arcade. I could just see him being this power-hungry little son of a bitch. Just thinking, yeah, and then just like, oh no. Or I could see him as a young Boulevard Trask. Think about it. When you look at Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, try imagining that character as a young Boulevard Trask trying to save the world, but just being completely out of his mind at the same time. I could have seen that. I could totally envision that. Absolutely. But yeah, that's my thoughts on some casting. Maybe I'll do another one another time with other actors and stuff, other people from other movies. But tell me what you think. Your thoughts on any of the casting choices I thought of, your particular casting choices. Like, comment, share, subscribe. If you have ideas for who would win, spend in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I know this went long. Didn't mean for it to. But I do appreciate you sticking through it if you did. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See you next time.